Everyone has their own idea of what constitutes a Halloween game. For some people, it's going to be anything scary. Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's all good. Other people are a lot more fastidious with their criteria, focusing more on nitpicky details like how the game looks and how the game feels, the game's atmosphere and tone. Now again, this is all about whatever it takes to get you in the Halloween mood, so neither of these mindsets are wrong, but I definitely fall into the latter camp. I define the spirit of Halloween to be more fun and lighthearted than scary or frightening. And the games I like to play this time of year definitely reflect this. Now, I've already talked about Castlevania, Super Castlevania 4, and Monster in My Pocket, but here are some other games that, in my opinion at least, are perfect for getting in the Halloween mood. Nothing too in-depth this time, this is more of a speed round overview of my favorite Halloween games. Along with the Castlevania series, the Ghost and Goblins series is a go-to for many people when it comes to Halloween games. However, I personally prefer its spin-off series, Gargoyle's Quest. I've already talked about the original Gargoyle's Quest on the Game Boy and its pseudo-sequel on the NES, so today I'm going to briefly look at the third game in the series, Demon's Crest on the Super Nintendo. Not only is Demon's Crest a fantastic looking game, it also addresses my chief complaint with the previous two games by injecting the series with a much needed shot of Metroidvania. As with Gargoyle's Quest 1 and 2, Firebrand upgrades his abilities over the course of the game, but unlike 1 and 2, many of these abilities are tied to the various alternate elemental forms he acquires. More importantly, these newly acquired abilities open up previously inaccessible areas in earlier stages, which, in my opinion, was an unfortunate missed opportunity in the first two games. One more note about Demon's Crest, it apparently sold very poorly when it came out, probably due to the fact that it was called Demon's Crest rather than Gargoyle's Quest 3. However, there was a rumor a while back that there was a time period when it was returned to stores more often than it was sold, resulting in negative sales for a week, or a month, or a year. I don't know, the details seem to change a lot. I'm not sure if this story is still being circulated, but I do not believe it for a second. That is not true. I would, however, totally believe that more people bought this game out of the bargain bin than at full price. That's probably a bit more accurate to what actually happened. Most Resident Evil games are great to play around this time of year, but in my opinion, Resident Evil 4 is the most Halloween-y of the series. Running through this quaint little village during what is clearly a chilly autumn evening, you almost expect to see a jack-o'-lantern or two. The centerpiece of the game is a sprawling Gothic castle that Dracula himself would be proud to call home, full of creepy chanting monks and all manner of monsters and traps straight out of a Castlevania game. Compared to the previous entries of the series, Resident Evil 4 definitely leans more into the action genre than horror. But there are still plenty of genuinely frightening moments here, like Salazar's hedge maze. Or the sewers under the castle. or the deserted, trash-strewn laboratory in the game's final chapter. Getting back to the NES again, here's a game that I played for the first time last year. Monster Party, which could very well have been called What the Fuck? The Game. You start the game as a generic video game kid with a baseball bat as your only weapon. However, if you eat a Dr. Mario pill, you can transform into a flying bird demon that shoots lasers. Also, the game takes place in a literal nightmare. I mean, just look at this imagery. This is terrifying stuff, as much as it can be in 8-bit. The object of the game is to defeat all the bosses in each level so you can collect the key that opens up the level's exit. These bosses are where the game really goes off the rails. There's a singing plant straight out of Little Shop of Horrors, and a minotaur that tells you to move it before attacking you with an army of tiny cows. There's a trio of tempura fried food items that emerge one after the other from the transporter pods from The Fly. There's a pair of zombies who just want you to watch them dance, and one creature who doesn't do anything because he's already dead. Now, outside of these elements, Monster Party isn't really anything to write home about. The graphics, music, and play control are only serviceable, and the core gameplay mechanics are repetitive and uninspired. It's almost like the developers realized how boring their game was, so they decided to compensate for it by making it as weird as possible. And they succeeded. Because they did that, Monster Party is one of the most amazing games I've ever played. Alright, I have a few more games to show you, so I'm going to finish this up with a montage of Halloween goodness. Starting with a Wii game called, Oni Chambara Bikini Zombie Slayers. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Thank you very much for watching, and feel free to let me know in the comments what games get you in the Halloween spirit. Have a safe and happy Halloween.